Ask Alderman Bryant to say the opening prayer. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll get into our agenda. So everybody stand, please.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day to come back. We thank you, God, for the health you give us. Pray, God, you be with the ones that is not so healthy, God, because of this virus we have going on. Just pray, God, you be with our nation as a whole as we deal with this. God, we just pray that you be with each one that's here tonight. Pray, God, you be with our community as a whole. Thank you, God, for giving us such a good community to live in. Lord, we just pray that as we go through this meeting tonight, that whatever we say and whatever we might do would be in your will. God, we just pray that we remember your blessings. Lord, we just pray that we remember a lot of times that we get blessings we don't even realize about. God, just pray, Lord, that you be with all of our employees that takes care of the city, every department, God. Just pray you be with all of them. Look out after them, take care of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Everybody have your agenda in front of you or on your iPad. Does anybody have any additions, deletions? Not let that stand. First order is a review of the regular meeting minutes of January 12th, 2021. Does anybody have any corrections, deletions, additions? No. Not let that enter into record. B, special called meeting minutes on January 28th, 2021. Does anybody have anything? Let that enter into record. We will start before we get into our reports. I need to ask Officer Dalton Henderson and Jason Lefevers to come forward. We're going to do a oath of office. If you'll face the camera. Turn face the camera. You read off yours. Raise your right hand. I, say each of your names.
Jason Lefevers.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
That I am duly qualified.
That I am duly qualified.
According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
To exercise the duties of the office. To which I have been appointed.
To which I have been appointed.
And I will to the best of my ability. Discharge the duties thereof.
Discharge the duties thereof.
And preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The constitutions of the state of Tennessee.
The Constitution of the state of Tennessee.
And the United States of America.
The United States of America.
I further swear or affirm. That I will enforce the ordinances of the city of Fayetteville.
Enforce the ordinances of the city of Fayetteville.
And the laws of the state of Tennessee.
And the laws of the state of Tennessee.
Protect the life and property of its citizens.
Protect the life and property of its citizens.
And I will diligently seek to detect crime.
I will diligently seek to detect crime.
And to apprehend perpetrators of crime.
To apprehend perpetrators of crime.
That I will be ever mindful.
I will be ever mindful.
Of the trust that has been placed in me.
The trust that has been placed in me.
By citizens of the city of Fayetteville.
By the citizens of the city of Fayetteville.
And will make every effort to live up to that trust.
And make every effort to live up to that trust.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now need Fireman Joe March and Daniel Spray to come forward, please. It's okay, Joe. Come on. Sorry, got that look. We'll let you read. Each of you raise your hand. I say each of your names. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and that of the state of Tennessee, that I will obey the laws and ordinances of the city of Fayetteville, that I will protect the life and property of its citizens, and I will familiarize myself with and be obedient to the rules and regulations and will faithfully serve the city of Fayetteville in the discharge of my duties as a member of the Fayetteville Fire Department, to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Welcome. Next, we have Ms. Carolyn Denton from the Fayetteville Lincoln County Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. I do have a special guest with me that I will introduce in just a moment, but first I wanted to give you a few updates on some things that will be taking place in the next few weeks. An update on Hamburger Day on the Hill, Legislative Appreciation Day. We are, of course, on hold for that right now. We have told Pat Marsh's office that we will do whatever we need to do if and when that time comes, that we might be able to have the event in some shape, form, or fashion. And the Livestock Association is on board with us with that thought as well. So hopefully we'll be able to do something maybe later on this year. I'm working with Christy Gentry on the I-65 billboard, so thank you all for partnering with us on that. We're working on the artwork. The billboard as it was is still up right now, so it's still being effective. And I'm also working on a tour guide for the courthouse grounds and the history around the courthouse. We're working on our community guide for 2021. We'll have more articles than before. I'll do a feature on Camp Blunt, so we're looking forward to that because last year it was coming soon, so now it's here. And we're also going to be highlighting outdoor activities in the guide. Our Women of Lincoln County committee is meeting. Last year we recognized Selena Moore Holman, so we're asking residents to come up with women that have made an impact in our county or our state or our city that we might be able to recognize in 2021. Music in the Park, we would like to proceed in some way with Music in the Park, provided you all as our partners don't have a problem with us using the park. I don't know if that's something that has to be decided or, but we will of course do it in a safe way. There'll be distancing between anyone that's not in your household. But hopefully we'll be able to have it maybe once a month this summer, or just we're just kind of in the beginning stages of that. So if you all would like to have any input in that, we would appreciate it. Our Student Advisory Board has been a challenge this year, to say the least, but we will be meeting on the 18th here in the auditorium. So thank you for allowing us to use this room. We'll have the EMS Director, Doug Campbell, and Tina Hudson from Hands of Mercy will be here to talk about how COVID has affected our community in the last year. So now I would like to introduce Ryan French. Ryan is the new director for South Central Tennessee Tourism Association. I'm privileged to be the vice president of that board, and he's going to share some things that he has in the works for our 13 county region, and he's really hit the ground running. So I'm looking forward to him getting to know you all and working in our community too.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to meet you all. Again, my name is Ryan French, and it is an odd time to take a job in tourism with COVID-19. So but there is some good news on the horizon, and I think that's one of our jobs as South Central Tennessee Tourism Association, is to keep you guys abreast of not only data and things that affect your constituents in your city, but also things that are going to affect the industry as a whole. And so today, Miles Media actually released a study, and right now we're happy to see that there's a 40% uptick in people that plan on traveling in the next 6 months. It's so 80% of Americans plan on doing some type of travel, and it's our opportunity to take advantage of that. Lincoln County and Fayetteville is in a really, really good position to take advantage of some opportunities in the spring. One of the things that we're focusing on right now as an organization is outdoor activities. Our state parks had record-breaking years. This guide that I handed out to everyone has a little bit of the data in there for you to look over. On the back of it, we also do have a new website. It's scttapartners.com. You can go to that and view the data specifically for Fayetteville, for Lincoln County. And that information is there for you to utilize when you're making decisions about tourism, and also some information that your constituents would probably find fascinating as well. But one of the things that we are focused on, and Carolyn mentioned, is outdoors. And the Elk River that flows right through here, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to see some impact from things like that. The unique thing about the flock of folks going to outdoors is most of them are novice. So they are looking for guidance. And that's what we're here to provide, is guidance on where to shop, where to eat, where to stay. And I'm excited about the opportunity. We got some other great programs that I know are going to really help Fayetteville. Downtown Tennessee is something that we've launched. We're going to launch that in the summer. We've actually started a committee on that now, where we're going to focus on downtown and small business areas around the downtown centric areas. And we're going to actually build out destination top marketing for all the downtowns across the region. Become a Tennessean. BecomeATennessean.com is a livability effort that we're going to be rolling out. Each community is going to have a landing page that's going to have livability data. So when you're recruiting industry or anyone that wants to open a business here or just live here, there's going to be a lot of neat information for them to get in and enjoy there. So if anyone's got any questions, my information's on here as well. You can scan through. I'm on the website, experiencetn.com. I'm excited to do the job and work for you guys. So if there's any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Just thank you. And of course, anything that helps. We already have a lot of things in this area that kind of bring people through. 64, Highway 64 is kind of a hidden gateway. People traveling from Texas all the way over to the East Coast. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting area to live in. I live in Manchester currently. I'm a regional baby. I grew up in Lynchburg. So if that tells you anything, don't ask me anything about math, but because we can count to 200 or something, that's it. But, Jack Daniels has got a huge impact on this area. The Whiskey Wines and Brews Trails is got a big impact on this area. Like I said, Highway 64. There's a lot of opportunity here, and we're really excited to jump in here and partner and help grow those numbers. So, thank you again.
Thank you. Carol, did you have anything else? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Next, we'd like to welcome back Steve Chandler from Chandler Thinks to give us an update on our branding initiative.
Excited to meet the new addition in the regional organization. Regionalism is really important. Might as well jump on top of this. We're not all Nashville and Memphis and Chattanooga. Sometimes we're strong because we work together, and that's the idea of his organization, is that collectively we might grab some attention, whereas maybe by ourselves we don't always do it. And so I'm glad to meet you, and I think it's exciting that you're here. Well, I wanted to update you all tonight on what we've been doing on your behalf, and it's been a lot has happened since early November. So I want to give you an update. I think you all might have a little handout, but I'll walk you through kind of what's happened. First of all, last update was early November. If you all recall, we shared some photography, beautiful photography that was done in October. That's the use of it is all taking place, and about even more is about to with your new website. We shot a video. We actually looked at that back in November. We previewed the advertising, showed you what that would look like. So that was last time we were here. But since then, a lot more has happened. Since then, we've contracted and developed a directional signage plan, AB Design. I think you all have looked at that to some degree. I know the ED committee has been looking at that, but directional signage is off and running. It's not an overnight thing, but having a plan developed with some options, some recommendations. And by the way, I love the recommendation that they're coming up with it because it has some versatility for events, which I think is really nice touch. But we also created our own directional signage immediately with outdoor board, if you'll recall. So good that we actually had to make a little adjustment to one because they were getting people to stop to look for slaw burgers, and he didn't have them in his restaurant because that outdoor billboard was right outside his restaurant. Advertising works. I thought that was interesting. We created and produced visitors guides, about 5,000 of those. Pretty fantastic. I just popped my head into the shop there on the corner of the ladies' dress shop, and there on her counter are visitors guides. She said they've already run out of them once, people asking for them. Downtown maps. I think it's important to listening as we go through this process is important. Downtown maps were not part of our plan. But I was here in October, September, talking about what we were going to do. And a lady sat out here and said, we need maps. We need maps. People need maps to know how they're getting around downtown. That's why we produced maps. So we actually scrapped something that was originally part of the plan to make room for it financially and produced maps. I say that we're all learning. This is a process. It's creating a culture of tourism that everybody's a part of this. Everybody out there in the square is a part of this. And so the more we listen and stick our head in and ask how things are going, that's how we're going to evolve and really go towards the vision that you all have cast. In fact, the day I handed them out, we discovered we need something else on them. Of course, that's how it works. So make your list. Do not beat up Lennis and Christie. And don't even beat up me. Reality is, the moment you print a visitor's guide and a downtown map, you're going to go, oh, we should have done this. Guess where the one place in downtown there's public restrooms? Guess where it is? There's no indication on the downtown maps where the public restrooms are. We need that. That's important for visitors. That's being tourism minded, right? We're not going to do them tomorrow, but the next time it happens, we're going to add the public restrooms, okay? So make your list, send it to Lennis and Christie when you see something like, oh, we need to add this to it. All right, that's how 2.0 will have that. We created and produced onlyinfayetteville.com window decals or window stickers. I saw some of those going around town. Onlyinfayetteville.com site is up. It's a temporary site where we're building your website. We're not building it, but someone else is. And we implemented a paid media campaign that ran from November the 2nd to January the 15th. The goal of that campaign is awareness. The fact that you can click on things and can get to there's some actions can occur are fantastic. The goal is awareness. In the marketing world, I spared you a graph, but just think of a big funnel. Okay, big funnel. The top of the funnel is awareness. If you don't know someone exists, you'll never make a transaction. Make sense? Keep it real simple. Right now, we got to make sure people think about us. We're not on we want to be on the more people's radar screen we're on, then some percentage of those will come down that funnel and start to come visit us and have transactions. So that's the goal. So we're awareness. Results. Still got to report the results to you. Our media generated over 7.8 million impressions in that short amount of time. Over 14,000 visits to our one-page website. Keep in mind, no one even knew it existed. There were 0 visits on October 31st. Right, 14,000. We can track that targeted devices. What's a device? Targeted devices that have visited our city limits over 35,000 times. People we targeted with those 7.8 million impressions. 35,000 times a device came in. Times, you mean people? No, times. That means duplication. 12,000 unique devices came into downtown that we targeted. Now, is it because they saw our message? I don't know that for sure, but I like to think that we had something to do with it. They might just be a truck driver that got the message and they're coming in too, right? I don't take credit for everything, but dang it, we're going to jump on top of it, right? We contracted over 6,000 unique devices that were targeted with our advertising. They saw it, visited downtown. And over 600 went to Jack Daniel's Distillery. Why would you track that, Steve? Because one of our target audiences were people who were interested in Jack Daniel's Distillery. Visitors guide requests are being sent. I haven't had a bunch of them so far. We've had like 40 something, but we're starting to send out visitors guide requests, and we're starting to build an email database of people that are interested in Fayetteville, so we can have recurring messages. And right now, we're not going to send an email out to 40 people just yet, but we got to make sure they know we're here. Store owners are having customers seeing their ads. We've had people. You've had feedback, or the staff has had feedback. People have come to their stores and said, "Yeah, I saw some advertising." Yay! It's starting. We're still baby stepping. but we're getting there. We're having a discussion. When I went into the shop in the corner, a guy goes, "Hey, are you that guy that was asking us some questions that were shooting videos that day?" I said, "That wasn't me, but it was our team." He said, "Okay, cool." He's having conversations. They're starting to be aware that this is a collective effort, and that's the main goal. Okay, what's next? You all have a planning meeting, I believe, later this month. Is that correct, Mayor? Okay, so I just want to prep you. We may not be able to do everything. Budgets matter, but I have an idea what the budget's going to be. I have an idea. I'll follow up with you on that to confirm it by the time that meeting occurs. But directional sign installation needs to happen this year. Like, we got a plan now. Let's get the signs in the ground. That'll be great. New tourism website. The city website is
migrating right now.
is migrating right now. The tourism pages are not. They're not migrating right now because I know I have the content for them. So that still so it's going to lag behind a little bit with the city side. I'm going to coordinate with Insight, the agency that's building the website. So I've got to get with them so they can allow me. I'm the one that's going to throw all the content in there, but I have to have the keys to it. So we're working on that. More marketing support for downtown business. The pandemic. If we can, we've got to help get out of second quarter. The national travel trends, as he shared with Miles and some other agencies like Longwoods International, are showing, for the most part, first and second quarter are going to be soft compared to previous years. Of course, it's winter, so usually people aren't that busy anyway. But the first part of spring is going to be more soft than normal. We're already seeing spring festivals all over the place being postponed till later in the summer or the fall already. That's happening in many destinations. Third quarter, it's expected to open up a bit. Yes, the traveler sentiment nationwide is picking up. But that's third quarter when it's starting to open up. We still have to help our local businesses get out of this every way we can. And so I think part of our plan or desire is a little bit more marketing support in the spring to help them get through what's expected to be a softer spring than normal. I think we have that's a kind of a high priority. Social media storytelling, it's not really expensive media, so we want to make sure we get out there. You have a dedicated Facebook page just for tourism. We're also assessing some things right now. The world of social media and the acceptance of social media has changed a lot since November the 2nd when I was here last. There's been a few events occur that have affected the participation of social media. That's all being factored. We're kind of all learning as we go there to some degree. All right. But we need to be more involved with social media and from a tourism perspective. We've got to get the Fayetteville story out in public relations. I believe that what you see, you all see this, but communities all the time, publications, USA Today, local publications, regional publications, magazines, the list. Stories about your community make you incredibly proud. You may not see the advertising for a community because it's not always targeted to you, but when there's a story about your city because it made a list or because it was written because it's a great story. Do you know there's this wonderful town that you've never heard of between Huntsville and Lynchburg, and it's got this unique, wonderful story about slaw burgers, whiskey, and Tennessee heritage like you've never heard. Are you kidding me? That's a great story to pitch. In fact, those are 3 different great stories to pitch. We need to get that out there. Why? Because I want the people of Fayetteville to see their name in lights. We need them to get excited. Their advertising doesn't always do that. So looking to possibly make a plan that shows some PR efforts of pitching our story and getting it out there. And then good thing is, unlike magazines of 10 years ago, when a story gets out there now, it stays out there for a long time because of the digital world, right? So you can accomplish a lot. We need to start having discussions about a plan for visitor center. Where is that? Right? Where is it? We need a place to go. We've got a sign that says visitor center that goes to a log cabin. It's never open, right? We got to get that sign down for one. We need the visitor center to be downtown. So we got to talk about that. Whether it's with partners, existing partners, or empty buildings, or private. Everything's open. We need the place that says that is a big part of our community, right? So that's kind of the plan of what what I expect to be on the plan for this year. We've got to do it effectively. You don't get credit for check marking that you do it. You get a check mark for doing it effectively. So budgets will matter. But I expect to prepare some materials for your all's planning meeting later this month. So there you go. Any questions about what's going on?
Any questions? Thank you. We we've definitely seen, I guess I do have one question on the billboards you had in Huntsville.
Yep.
Were you able to target, of course, you talked about the one you're talking about was down there by Posey's in Hazel Green, where the owner actually owns that billboard. But the other ones you had, I mean, could you specifically target the benefit of each one, or was that just kind of random in your numbers as far as the effectiveness of the placement of the ads of the different places in
Yeah, but
Huntsville?
billboard advertising, you're not going to be able to get measurements of the impact they made. They're based on eyeballs,
Mhm.
traffic counts.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the numbers we're reporting are all from the digital marketing efforts, like radio, which we did a little radio in Huntsville, by the way. Reminder, but radio, a lot of the traditional stuff, it's going to be difficult to do measurements on. So it's simply about traffic counts. That's all we can tell. So,
Okay.
but all of our billboards were placed on 231. Specifically to be en route. We placed one board, actually, believe it or not, between Murfreesboro and Shelbyville. One on the north side as people were coming down to see if we could create much reaction. It's hard to tell if it did, but the other four that we placed were all on
Okay.
231.
We have a lot of people travel between here, MTSU, I mean, Shelbyville. So, but I mean, there's been a lot of positive feedback from the ads, the design of the ads, the video. So, I mean, the video's got a lot of looks.
And that's when I said story. I mentioned storytelling on here. I will tell you, we have a great video and it's fantastic, but there's only so much utility for a 2 to 3 minute video, right? We have a lot of footage, a lot of it. So part of the plan is going to be to make more niche messaging that can last for like 30 seconds. That's more adapted to use for social media, sharing with other people that can speak. So let's have one just for shopping, right? We have 9 antique stores and many other gift shops, right? So let's have one just for shopping. We can make a video for that. So that's also kind of part of what we're going to be looking at, depending on budgets. But we've got great content. We've already spent the money on photography and video. We should have to do that again. So, all right, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks for allowing us to be involved.
We'll go into our standing committee reports. We'll start with Chief Howell at the Fire Department.
For the month of January, they had 1 structure fire, 14 medical assisting the EMS, 4 motor vehicle accidents with injuries, and EMS call excluding vehicle accidents of 38. That's my report.
Any questions on that? We'll go on to the police department.
Fayetteville Police Department made 30 arrests, issued 25 citations for the total police activity events of 1,335.
Any questions on police? All right, thank you, sir. We'll go to the finance with Ms. Stacy Rozelle.
Good evening. The January 2021 local option sales tax came in at $254,589.45. This brings the fiscal year total to 1.4 million, and at the midpoint of the year, we have recorded 56.33% of the budgeted sales tax revenue. We're continuing to collect property taxes. You have until February 28th to pay your taxes without penalties. The city office will be open on Saturday, February the 27th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. in order to accept those last minute payments. And finally, an update on the bond issues. The first issue, which was the refinance of the 3 current issues that we had, came in with an interest rate of 0.98%. The average rate previously on those 3 bonds was 3.22%. So that's a big drop on those. This refinance did not extend the terms of those bonds. It only updated the rates. The total savings on them was $1,224,501.20. $783,558 of that was the Fayetteville City School System, and the other $441,000 was on the city side. And a quick recap on the new bond: it is a $5 million bond for 20 years. The winning bid interest rate on it was 1.55% with a premium. This premium allows us to only pay interest on 4.3 million of those funds. This total saves the city $761,849. The overall savings with both of these issues together is just shy of $2 million.
Any questions of Ms. Roselle? All right, thank you. Mr. Collins, you handling the rec?
Yes, sir. The signups are ongoing for youth baseball, softball, and soccer. The fee is $35 and signups will continue through February 27th. The Parks and Recreation Department at this time, effective February 1st, is now closed on Sundays. However, anybody wanting to have a party, reception, or any activities can call 2 weeks in advance and we will make accommodations to open the building. The dog park equipment is being installed this week. The majority of it's already up. They're concreting it in. There'll be seven agility obstacles for pet owners to put their dogs through. And we've also received the pavilions. One will be installed where the old ticket booth pavilion was demoed last week by Public Works. And then the other one will be installed in the dog park. And lastly, rec officials and myself will be meeting with South Lincoln sports officials to discuss mutual benefits from working together on our leagues. That's the recreation report, sir.
And a reminder that the equipment was paid for by a 100% clear and free grant from the Randy Boyd Foundation
Yes,
for
sir.
$25,000.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very thankful for them for that. Any questions on rec? Okay. Mr. Plunkett for Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. The month of January, we had 15 ton of leaves, 72 ton of brush, 242 ton of trash. And our bridge on Lowell Drive right now, I told you all it would be going out for bid in February. TDEC has held us up on that, endangered species. So I don't know how they do it in the Dry Creek, but that's what they've done.
Have they named just,
No, they're going within a mile there, is what they said. They're doing a study.
okay. Any timeline on their study? Have they indicated the timeline on their study?
No, sir, the engineer's working on trying to get it, then just dry, get it passed on through.
Sure. And then you also report that the new knuckle boom truck has been ordered and will be delivered, expected in March.
Correct.
Any questions for Mr. Plunkett? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go to planning codes with Ms. Christy Gentry.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. 7 permits were issued in January. The total project valuation was $621,331.54. The total permit fees was $1,275. A notable permit was for the Direct Coal Company. They are going into the old Goodman building. They're doing an interior office build out and adding 2 bathrooms and a break room. And this project is valued at $500,000. On the property maintenance side, 11 violations were logged in Municity. Ms. Lennis has also sent out 21 letters to properties that are always on the violation list. She's trying to get ahead of those things before the growing season starts. And she's also issued several summons that have been sent out, and those court cases have been scheduled for April when the courts open back up. For the Planning Commission, the subdivision regulation update is advertised in this week's paper for the public hearing. That will happen February the 23rd at 5 p.m. at the Planning Commission meeting. And a copy of the draft document can be found on the city's website at FayettelleTN.com, or they can be viewed here at the municipal building in our office. And that's my report.
Questions of Ms. Gentry? Thank you so much. We'll go to the city administrator's report, Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. The Phase 2 Greenway project, we have received an email from TDAR and TDOT wanting additional archaeology information on the Camp Blunt site. However, all the information has already been compiled, and Travis Rail reports that by the end of this week, all of it will be submitted back without any additional field studies. Phase 3 of the Greenway, and that's a segment that goes from the terminus across the Elk River on the Camp Blunt site, around the banks of the Elk River down to terminate at Walmart. The kickoff meeting will be held this Thursday, February 11th. We received additional information on William D. Jones. The 4 areas that's got to clear it, 3 of the 4 have cleared. Roadway Design Quality Assurance had 4 comments, and I would like to just read directly what came from the engineer today. It says, we are still on track to have revised submittals back in TDOT's hands by this Friday. The renewal of the NEPA clearance is also on track to be completed soon. TDOT has came back and requested that we have our biologist walk the project area and confirm there are no wetlands. This on-site evaluation wasn't required when the first certification was obtained, and nothing has changed on the soil map since the certification, but we are having the work performed and don't believe it will delay the project, as we know there are no wetlands being impacted. If I had to put a timeline estimate on obtaining the notice to proceed for construction, which allows us to advertise for bids, I would estimate 3 to 6 weeks. That would give us a targeted bid opening timeframe of around the end of March, 1st of April, submitted by Will Owen, Griggs and Maloney Incorporated. And 2 more things, Mayor. In the governor's State of the State last night, he announced his proposal to award $200 million to municipalities across the state for infrastructure improvements. And TML sent out information today, and if the budget is approved as presented by the governor, City of Fayetteville will be receiving $184,200. And lastly, an offer was made today and verbally accepted for a building inspector. And if all the pre-employment screenings go as planned, they'll start employment on February 22nd. That's my report, Mayor.
Any questions of Mr. Collins?
Do you have any idea yet if this comes through, it can be used for infrastructure? Give us some examples.
Anything from roadways to parks, just sidewalks, just a variety of infrastructure needs. And more information will be forthcoming, and I'll certainly provide it to the board when received.
Any other questions? Thank you. We don't have any unfinished business. We'll enter into new business. Item A, Resolution R 2021-06, opioid litigation. DA Rob Carter, who represents Lincoln County and 3 other surrounding counties, came and spoke at our work session this past Thursday and spoke about the fact that a lawsuit, he brought a lawsuit in 2017 through the law firm of Brandstetter, Stranch, and Jennings, PLLC, to recover money for City of Fayetteville under Tennessee's Drug Dealer Liability Act, DDLA. That lawsuit's been pending, but there was a ruling, Mr. Hill can speak to this, that it would be better if the board passed this resolution in which we were the plaintiff as opposed to everything that had been going through the DA's office. So if you don't mind speaking to that for just a minute.
Sure, Mr. Mayor. There are actually three of these lawsuits pending according to DA Carter. The one that he is involved in, I believe, is in Putnam County. And one of the other suits that was filed further east in Tennessee that's been pending longer has made it to the Tennessee Supreme Court,
and there was a ruling that it was inappropriate for the DA to prosecute those cases in his own name. And that's why DA Carter has requested the city and other municipalities and counties in our area to authorize our being substituted in as the parties in this. And they basically presented a financial proposal that is virtually a no-lose situation for the city. So it's been my recommendation that we accept the proposal that DA Carter has presented.
And it would be of no cost to the city of Fayetteville. And we don't know if there would be any award, but, at some point there will be some resolution to these lawsuits. So basically we just need a motion, a second on this item.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve a resolution R-2021-06.
Second. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
That item passed. We go to item B, installation of a new fire hydrant along Malino Road. It was discussed in finance and work session this month about, we have written documentation from 2007 that if there was a development in a certain area along Malino Road, to give people perspective, it's around the curve, a little bit past where you turn up to the radio station YTM, that a fire hydrant would need to be installed. The house is being built. My understanding is that this would need to ballpark around not to exceed $9,000. So need a motion, a second on this item.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Martinez? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
That item passed. Item C, 2020 Fayetteville Regional Planning Commission report. It has been customary the last couple of years that the Planning Commission puts together an annual report of activities from January through December. Also talks about the update on training that they've done, lists the members of the board, and any actions have been taken by the Planning Commission. We need to ratify this for their records.
Mayor, I move we accept the report of 2020 Planning Commission.
Second, Mr. Martinez. Discussion. Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
That item passed. Item D, Liberty Road annexation. In the past Planning Commission meeting, we had a person that came forward that wanted an annexation of some property into the city that would have led to a request for rezoning, that would have led to development. The commission did not, voted not to approve that annexation. Mr. Hill, will you speak a moment to this? We talked about this the other day.
Sure.
About what this board needs to do.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, as you said, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend against the annexation. So since this board has the exclusive authority to ultimately approve or reject annexations, it's now coming to this board to either accept the unanimous recommendation of the Planning Commission in opposition to the annexation, or alternatively to reject that recommendation, which would then send it back to the Planning Commission for further consideration.
So an aye vote would basically affirm the.
If we have a motion to accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission, then a vote in favor of that motion would be, approving the recommendation or accepting the recommendation.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Second, Alderman Hartman. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
That item passed. Item E, Resolution R 2021-07 CNS Plastics Pilot Agreement. We had Elaine Middleton, the director of the industrial board, come to our finance meeting. And then we also recommended our finance to endorse a new 5-year pilot agreement. CNS Plastics is doing an expansion. They're one of our industries that have been stable and over the years. And so we just need a motion and a second to approve this 5-year agreement.
Motion to approve resolution R 2021-07.
Second.
Discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland?
Aye, pass. Item F, Special Refuse Fund, as we call it, the sanitation fund. We had discussion actually over 2 months in finance, and then we also had discussion in work session about the possible need to increase the cost of the sanitation fee that is on residential and commercial citizens in the city of Fayetteville. There was a recommendation to increase the fee on the residential of $5. I guess that would be the same for the commercial. Motion or second?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we increase that fee another $5.
Second.
And then also, there was discussion about, or there was a recommendation whether we need to put an effective date to that as far as when that would actually go into place. And there was a recommendation of maybe April 1st.
I think that'll work.
Do we need to,
But
we
yeah,
need to amend the motion?
I can amend the motion, make it April 1st.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion.
I want to have a little discussion on this because whenever we're looking at increasing fees like that, the public needs to understand why. We don't just need to be increased fees, be increasing. I might have to call on the finance director, and I might have to call on the public works director, but if I do, I will. But I ask, in order to really get it, and we've been looking at this a while, I mean, it just didn't come up. But I asked for a spreadsheet. And I've got a spreadsheet, and I doubt if anybody's got the spreadsheet. I've got it here, but I asked a spreadsheet for an in-depth breakdown on the sanitation fund, on where the expenses are. And for a time period, begins in 2016 up till 2020, 2021. I got the spreadsheet, and as I started looking at it, there's 24 different expense items on this spreadsheet. It's just broke down in 24 different line items, you might say. The first 10 line items has to do with charges and things that we can control. It has to do, or we can somewhat control. The first 10 items has to do with salaries, health insurance, workman's comp, and different issues to do with the employees. And what was interesting when I got to look at it this close was in 2016, that part of it that we have quite a bit of control over. That part of it, the total cost in 2016 was $118,063 for that part, mainly employees with benefits and such. Well, as we went through here, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, this year it was budgeted for that, and we're within budget. It was budgeted for that to be at $117,675. We've gone down a little bit in that part we could control. Well, the reason we've gone down is the employee-wise through attrition. Of course, newer employees coming on, they don't make as much. And another really big item that really helped us a whole lot was we got control of the cost of the health insurance. Now, about 2-3 years ago or whatever, we changed health insurance, went to state health insurance and got a whole lot better coverage, a whole lot better than we had. And just to kind of give you an idea, the salaries in 2016 was $73,000. And it kind of worked on down, I guess, through attrition. Salaries now is about 71,000. The health insurance, had been up to as high as 30 and 35,000 a couple of those years. But after we made that change, it went down a lot. Right now, it's still about 27,000, which still, I mean, over a 6-year period of time, or 5 years, it ended up on health insurance, we only had an increase of about 6% over, and we was having increases, really big increases. So that part of the expenses is we really control good. The part of the expenses that we don't have any control over, then you get into the landfill and you get into all of these other expenses. Oh, I mean, one thing just eating us alive is this grinding of the wood products. See, we're having to pay to carry that grinding to the landfills. Even though we pick that up outside of sanitation, it becomes sanitation when we have to pay to take it to the landfills. So even, and I guess one of the biggest ones here, just to give you an idea, was how it's escalated on like landfill services has gone from 174,000 in 2016 to 250 now. And when you begin to break down different areas of that over into the grinding and all, it's really escalated. So basically, kind of what has happened is we've gone in 2016, our expenses to run this sanitation was 475,000, rounded to a few dollars. Our expenses in 2020 to run sanitation have jumped all the way up to 639, well, almost 640,000. But all of those increases is in parts that we don't have control over. Like we had to make a move of within sanitation, mind you now, like $110,000 in order to try to help with the grinding that's going on. And that grinding in those 3 sections, divisions to where it's really costing so much more is in interlocal service waste, which is what we pay in today's dollars to get rid of, to move all this stuff or whatever. It's jumped from 150 to 200, over $200,000 a year. In like the mulching or grinding, really I call it grinding, but it's mulching. Back in 2016, we could say what, $24,000, I believe. 2017 was $8,000. We have about $75,000, budgeted for that. So all of this combined, the reason for the increase combined is just things that we don't have any control over. Now, another really big one too, I didn't mention, I should, is we've got a landfill been closed out in Howell Hill. We will have to continue along to the county to maintain that landfill from now on. And I don't know, I think it's up around 70-some thousand or something like that. It's way up high anyway on our part on landfill. Or we might have to do half of that. But anyway, it's gone up every single year. So when we break down the $5, excuse me, when we break down that and you really put the figures to it, we was told earlier on, it's going to take 2 cents of that just for us to get back to where we can break even, because this fund's down about 40-some-thousand. It's going to take 2 cents of that to where we can even break even. Well, according to the numbers I ran, it's going to take 2.5 cents of it. So there you go. She's done some more numbers. It's going to take 2.5 cents of that.
57 cents.
Yeah.
That's right. To even break, and that's my numbers. You didn't tell me that. That's what I figured on here. And anyway, 2.5 cents of that will put us to where we just break even. But we can't just break even on this fund. This is a proprietary fund. This fund can't lose money, because if it loses money, we're going to get a letter. We're going to get a letter from who is it come from?
Comes from the state, it comes from TDEC.
Yeah, it's going to come, and they're going to come in here and they're going to set the rates if we don't get it fixed. And if they set the rates, then we don't want them setting the rates. That what this will generate is, if it passes, what it'll generate is, it will generate We should be able to start building that fund up at about $98,000 per year. About that same amount is gonna go toward just getting up where we can break even. Now, the reason I asked, these two department heads, to chime in if they need to, is because they know a whole lot more about what's going on than what I know, even though our committee deals with this a lot. On the financial side, the finance director knows the condition of this fund, and on the public works side, he knows what is running these costs and what is pushing these costs up. But I will say this, and I'm gonna turn it over to them if they will speak. I will say this, I can't say enough about that department that has been, and well, and I like all our departments. I think we've got good departments. But in this particular situation where we're looking at raising rates to our customers, they need to know why we have no choice. We're at a point where we just simply don't have any choice. And also they need to know that those 10 items that department has been able to control, they have come in a little bit less than what it was costing 5 years ago on the part of taking control. It's a part that none of us can control on all this environmental thing and everything that's going on that's put us in this position. And really what we've done, we have put this rate increase off as long as we can, because I think it will have 45,000 in that fund, but I'm not sure. So if anybody wants any more information other than that before we vote, then if it's financial side, I would ask you to refer it to the finance director. If it's to the side, who knows what's going on and pushing all these costs up, I would ask you to talk to the public works director. Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other discussion?
I just have a
Go ahead,
question.
go ahead, Alderman. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna, maybe speak to Mr. Plunkett. And I'm not sure that it would affect it, but if we looked at contracting our garbage out to someone, outsourcing it, kind of like we did the recycle center, I mean, I guess they have to pay these same costs to dispose of the waste.
Correct. Most citizens will get the same services as they do now.
Mr. Plunkett, just come on forward so everybody can hear you on camera. Say that again, please.
We looked into it several years ago and talked with other communities. The citizens out there don't get the same service. They have missed cans, and if there's one missed, like now, if we miss one or get a call that says we didn't pick their trash up, we'll go back and get it. With those services, you don't get that. And they're, you're at their mercy. Once you contract with them, you just, they know you get out of the business, you get rid of your trucks and everything. Then when negotiation time comes, they know you can't go spend $1.2 million for 2 trucks and get back in the business tomorrow. So they got you on price.
I've just had several residents ask about that, well, the recycle center worked, contracting it out. And I said, but once you go that route, then you're at their mercy. They could raise it whenever they wanted to. And at least this way, it has not been raised in several years. So I know it's a bad time. I know it's going to hit a lot of people, but.
And speaking on some of those costs, this old landfill on Coach Lane, they're coming up every year with different tests that's got to be performed on that thing. We were listening through the ISWA meetings and stuff. They thought, it might taper off, but it's tapered up instead of down. They keep adding tests that's got to be done every year and tests for different things. And that's something, that's something we can't control. Us in the city are in it together. We just have to buy it and go.
And you may also highlight that the service we do provide that around surrounding communities, we do more with what we pick up for that sanitation fee than most
Correct.
other communities do.
Yes, sir. We run the sweeper, picking up leaves. A lot of other communities don't do that. Brush, they pick up maybe once a month, if they do that. So our citizens are spoiled. We try to take care of them. I mean, look at all the services they get for $19,
14 at the moment, but maybe,
14.
maybe 19, we'll see. So,
You know, there's a lot of people out in the county say, I'd pay 19 just to get my trash picked up.
Right, sure.
Small part of that, just in the last year with the pandemic, people have cleaned out everything they've had,
Correct.
and it increased a lot.
When it first started and everybody was at home,
Mhm.
it was all we could do, stay caught up on garbage. And then they got out in the summer, they cut every tree limb they could reach, I reckon.
Tore down old sheds, et cetera.
And they cleaned out sheds, and I mean, we was,
Exactly.
and these trucks, we got a fuel pump down on the garbage truck right now. We went down a month ago. We got the last one in the United States. So we got one, we got two different places looking for us a fuel pump. They saying that they're in Canada looking right now for one. So this truck's down, and we, you know, it's like I told the mechanic, I said, call everybody you know. See if somebody's got one sitting on the shelf, even if it's used, get it in here where we got, because this other truck goes down, I don't know what we'll do.
And see, the thing about that is too, like if we have to have another, when we have to have another garbage truck, we had to have one a day, we don't have the money to buy it in that fund. We have to build that fund up to where when we do it, we have to have a garbage truck, build that fund up to where we can either make the payments on it throughout 3 years or whatever, or just buy and pay for it. So, and this is a reason we've got to be able to, some of this has got to be able to go to building that fund back up.
Correct.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, now, Mr. Allen, I'm going to ask you on the motions we have on the floor, if we vote on what we're voting on now, does that pass this at the stated $5 increase, or do we need to vote on the amended first and then on the main? Because he amended, he amended the motion to the
Motion's
effective
been
date.
successfully amended, so we don't need to vote,
Okay,
I believe.
we just call the roll.
So we have an amended motion.
Okay,
We need to get the vote on.
Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
That item passed. Item G, FY 2002 budget calendar. We spoke about this in finance this month, as well as the work session. This is a calendar for Ms. Rozelle to send out letters and notify for nonprofits to have their information in by March 2nd. It also sets our work session dates. Those may change, but if they change, we'll notify the public. It sets the call for public hearing and the date that we vote on the FY 2022 budget. So we just need a motion, a second on this item.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Second.
Second, Alderman Hartman. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
This item passed. Item H, Recycle Center roof repair. This came to finance and work session this month. There is a small hole in the roof of the recycling center. This was recommended, asked for us to approve $1,200, which would be matched by the county, of $2,400 to fix that patch because there is some electrical wiring in there and there are workers, and it's not good if the water's coming through hitting the floor while that wiring isn't. So it was recommended out of finance to work session to approve this $1,200. Just need a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the $1,200 for the repair.
Second.
Take Alderman Small, discussion.
I do have one question. I know you're telling us what the amounts are on the fire hydrant and also on this. I think we should have those amounts on the iPad,
Okay.
on what we're approving. Instead of, you have
Sure.
to tell us. Typically what happens is we have the cost of something on the iPad that we're going to be approved.
Sure,
And we've had two that's not been on here.
sure, no problem. So,
Why is that? We normally have the cost.
Mr. Collins?
It was just a slip
Okay,
because we did have the hard copy provided at work session and through the committee meeting.
but we're voting right now.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I got.
Any other discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez? Mr. Wright?
That item passed. Item I, budget amendment ordinance 2020-01. This came to finance and work session. This is a budget amendment over the last 6 months for what we normally call housekeeping for accounting purposes. We went over this, pretty good discussion in finance and work session that you should have on your iPad. So, a motion and a second to approve this.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve this budget amendment at a number of $1,804,383.22.
Second.
Second, Mr. Alder. Any discussion? Can I call the roll, please?
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
That item passed. Item J, City of Fayetteville policy on diversity and inclusion. We spoke about this at the work session. This talked about, again, Mr. Collins, you said this was a request from a citizen about adding some language. We probably have most of this language in our policies anyway, but just a commitment to creating an environment in which individual differences and contributions of all employees are recognized and valued, and several other items, making sure, as we always do, that we have an equal opportunity workplace. So I need a motion and a second on this item.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Mr. Martinez. Any discussion?
I've got one question. It looks really good. I mean, is this gonna be in some document somewhere, or is this gonna be, where's this gonna be? I mean,
It will eventually be worked into personnel policy and also just like our Title VI and Title VII information that's on the webpage.
okay. But it will be in some policy somewhere that is a part of it instead of just a standalone.
On the board, yes, sir.
Okay.
Personnel policy website.
Because, you know, if you just do these standalone things, they don't get into something somewhere, after a while you lose them, you know, they get gone. So, thank you.
Any other discussion?
I have a question. On this, it says it will be monitored and reviewed annually. By who?
HR.
Okay, but it doesn't, I don't think it states that in there, so I wasn't sure if it was the person that was suggested this or brought this. I just think it needs to be clarified as to who will monitor this.
We can certainly put the city administrator will monitor it and with assistance from human resources.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez? Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
And passed. Item K, Slaughterburger 5K. This is an annual event this would be for April 4th, 2021. It was noted that we're not sure at the moment whether that's still the day of the Slaughterburger Festival, but this is a permit requesting that event to take place for the 5K run. So we need a motion and a second to approve this permit.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Alderman Allen. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Item passed. Item L, Firecracker Chase 5K event permit. This is an annual event to take place on June 26, 2021. This was brought forward at work session. It's been approved through the channels at the police department. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Second, Mr. Alder. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Item passed. Item M, Life Chain Event Permit. This is another annual event. Normally people line up on the sidewalk, going down there, starting from the Patrick Wellness Center. This event will take place on October 10th, 2021. So we need a motion and a second to approve this permit.
Motion to approve.
Second, Mr. Martinez. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Workman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
That item passed. Last item under new business, item N, Resolution R 2021-05, resolution for the Fayetteville High School football team. Due to COVID reasons and also limited capacity in here under the moment, we haven't had the ability to do a proper resolution for the state championship football team. And if this resolution passes, we've been invited by the school system Thursday night to come out. They're playing Mount Pleasant basketball, varsity girls and boys, and we would, as a board, present that to the team at the end of the girls' game before the boys' game. So, motion. Well, actually, let me read it first, and then we'll see if we have a motion in a second. It's a resolution to recognize the 2020 Fayetteville High School Tiger football team on the occasion of their 2020 season, which resulted in the winning of the 2020 Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association Division I Class A State Football Championship. Whereas it is appropriate that the members of this board of mayor and aldermen should honor those citizens who have performed with uncommon commitment and have achieved exceptional success in their areas of focus. And whereas the Fayetteville High School football team is one of such estimable group who had also won the Region 5 Division I Class A championship, and whereas the 2020 Fayetteville High School Tigers football team, having successfully held a defensive fourth and goal stand in each of the 5 playoff games for a total of 5, maintained a plus 14 turnover margin on the year, and having scored 372 total touchdown points with a game average of 24.8 points per game. They recorded 4,456 total yards, with 3,144 of those being rushing yards, 297 average yards per game, and only allowing 174 total touchdown points scored by the other team for an opposing team average of 11.6 points per game. Whereas Fayetteville High School completed the season with a 20-14 hard-fought victory in the championship game over a heavily favored team, South Pittsburgh, and had 7 members who were named All-District, 1 player who was named Regional Lineman of the Year, 1 player who was named Regional Co-Back of the Year, 5 players named to the Tennessee Football Coaches Association Division I Class 1A State All-State team, and the most valuable player of the TSSAA Division I Class A State Championship game. Whereas 2020 Fayetteville High School Tiger football team completed their season with a 13-2 record, and a 2-year record of 23-2, whereas the Fayetteville High School football team exemplifies the spirit, character, dedication, and commitment to the excellence for which we should all strive. The Fayetteville Mayor and Board of Aldermen are pleased to recognize them at this time. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen that we extend to each of the members of the 2020 Fayetteville High School football team our sincerest wishes for their continuing success academically and athletically. Read and adopted this day, the 9th day of February, 2021. I have a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution R-2021-05.
Second.
Second, Alderman Small. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Oliver?
Aye.
Ms. Workman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
That item passed. That concludes our new business for the evening. I think I will start over with our closing comments with Mr. Alderman Jeff Alder.
I just want to say welcome to our new policemen and firemen that were sworn in tonight. Looking forward to working with y'all, and just everybody continue to stay safe. I know the numbers on COVID are way down right now, so keep up the good work on that.
Alderman Hartman.
Yes, I'd like to say congratulations to the policemen and firemen. Glad to have you on board. I know it's an exciting time of your life to start this new career with us, so we appreciate that. Everybody stay safe.
Mr. Martinez.
I'd also like to say thank you, congratulations to you, firemen and police officers, and thank you all for the jobs you've done for the city, and thank you for your work. Okay, thank you for your work. So, congratulations, welcome aboard. Thank you so much.
Alderman Small.
Can only ditto the new employees, and asking everyone to continue to wear these masks, especially when we're in masks, like we're gonna be at the basketball game Thursday night.
And you have the N95.
Absolutely.
Mr. Bryant?
Everybody try to stay safe. Congratulations. Welcome aboard to the new employees. I'm really proud of all of our employees looking forward. Try to stay safe, and I know they lowered that age down to 70 now to get that vaccine. And believe me, there's nothing to it. So at least the first one's a reason on what the second one's going to be.
Don't plan anything. That's
That's all.
Well, when you go last, it's pretty much all been said. Welcome and thank you, everybody.
Mr. Collins kind of stole the thunder a little bit. I was going to mention Governor Lee's state of the state, considering the pandemic, and Ms. Denton mentioned the fact, we were at Hamburger Day on the Hill last year on a Wednesday, and that Friday was the day they started to shut everything down in the process. And it's hard to believe it's a year, but considering that really for 6 weeks, everything was shut down in the state, for the governor to be able to come back and propose. And this isn't running into deficit, because they're talking about putting $50 million in the rainy day fund, $150 million toward COVID relief and support, $931 million in the capital maintenance and improvements, the $200 million that Mr. Collins mentioned, but also then $200 million on broadband expansion. So that would allow our utility to help in the rural areas, and for our students in the city and the county that are live in the rural areas, maybe they have the opportunity to have that broadband. I'd also like to congratulate the following students from an academic perspective. At the City High School, they have a 30+ club, and this is for students that score 30 or above on their ACT, and 6 members of the school have just joined that: Bailey Tucker, Hannah Griffin, Sarah Clark, Julia Cox, Natasha McDonald, and McKenna Beck. Congratulations to them. Everybody's forgotten the most important thing, that Sunday's Valentine's Day. So everybody take care of your sweetie. So we stand adjourned, and we'll come back in March. Thank you so much.
I'll do expect some candy. This is like candy. You better get something.
Don't make a reservation.
We should have